Have you ever struggled with your serve? Let me give you a few of my favorite tips and drills to help you improve your serve technique right now. Hey guys, it's Chris Lewitt here, top American junior coach and coach to many #1 juniors in the United States. I'm excited to help you with your serve technique. It's going to be a shorter video and we're going to dive right into some quick tips and important drills that'll help you. So one thing I would say to anyone working on their serve with the toss, these are in terms of fundamentals, is toss higher, not lower. In my experience, I believe in a higher toss. So getting the ball up there and giving yourself a lot of time to work through the fundamental steps, the phases of the serve. Mark Kovacs talks about 8-stage model of the serve, and it's a great research approach, research model. But in general, there's a number of phases through here, including the power position, good loading in the back leg, things like that. And what I found is one of the secrets for my students is getting the toss up higher. So if you toss low, or if you teach a low toss, if you're a coach, and I know some really famous coaches who teach a low toss, I'm all for that for more advanced people. But when you're just learning, a higher toss for me is the way to go. Get the toss up in the air, give yourself a lot of time to work through the arm movements, to practice a flow in the arms, and also gives you a lot of time to work on one of the most important things that Mark Kovacs talks about, and I agree with him, is the loading of the legs, particularly the back leg loading. So the higher your toss is, that gives you a lot of time to sort of work out the kinks down below in the motion. So I say in my teaching, higher toss, not lower toss. And then as you get more advanced, you can bring the toss down and get like this really quick action that you see a lot of pros use nowadays. So one of my favorite drills, and I feature some of these drills in my new book, Winning Pretty, which is a book coming out next year. I'm very excited about it, biomechanics and technique book. But it's basically just a toss and freeze. So you can work on your high toss. You know, you can get that ball way up there. Get the ball way up there, and you can kind of check where it lands. You'd like the toss to land a good, 2, 3, even 4 feet, depending on how tall you are inside the court. So a significant amount inside the court. You can set up targets to toss into, but we're working on that high toss and inside the court, probably more than that. Great drills to set up, if you're on clay like I am today, on red clay, you can make a target zone just on the clay, which is very convenient, or you can use like throwdown lines or chalk, and you can work on your high toss and see if you can get it way into the court. Another simple thing you can do is try to see if you can catch it or not. This is something I've been working on with a lot of kids, is you toss it up. Can you catch that toss or not? And if you can catch it, it means the toss was too close to you. So if I toss this up, and if I can reach out and grab it, that means the toss is too close to the baseline for a first serve, that is. For a kick serve or a second serve, a topspin serve, the toss should be within range of catching. But a great exercise is to toss, and I prefer the high toss. There are coaches who work on the low toss, but I believe in that high toss to give yourself more time to work on the mechanics. So higher toss, and then see where it lands. Does it land outside of where you can catch it? If you can catch it, it's not far enough. See, that one I can't reach, so that means it's in a pretty good spot for me to later on to load and explode. So I love this drill, just toss and freeze. And what you do is, the freezing part is working on the power position. So the power position looks like the letter L. I recommend, if you're learning the serve, if you're kind of struggling with your serve, work on your L shape, which looks like this. You make a 90-degree angle with your arm, at your elbow, and the racket points straight up. There's all different kinds of varieties of take-ups. There's like Cobra, lag style take-ups. I've done videos on this and talk about this in my new book also. There's many different ways to take the racket up, but essentially at the essential goal is to get up into a good, strong throwing position of the arm, basically an L shape. It looks kind of like this. So what I tell people is, we work on a lot of different ways to bring it up, and I don't want that to be the subject of this video. That could be another really good video, but you're going to bring it up the way you like to bring it up. You can bring it up straight. You can bring it up with a lag, which is really cool. Many coaches teach that lag now. I see a lot of top players using the lag. You can bring it up more traditionally where you go around and up into here, but you got to get into a nice L shape. So the L shape is that power position. And when you do this drill, it just works great together. You can practice your high toss, and then you can freeze and check your L shape. One of my favorite drills. High toss, and then check your L. See if you can get this thing vertical. Some people will be here in the tray position. Some people will be, a lot of people go here right away, way early, so they have a very premature drop of the racket. See if you can get in the, however you take it up. I'm not prescribing one way. There's many ways that you can take the racket up, and I believe there's a lot of acceptable ways to take the racket up. But I'd like to see, in general, high toss, and then a really good L, power position. And the other thing, what you can also do is in that moment, when you're in that L, so you're checking your toss, is it far away? You're checking your power position here. Okay, looks pretty good. Did you load your legs? And a lot of people, they don't load their legs very well, or they have issues with their leg loading. So that would be sort of the next thing that we'll get into in a moment. So we talked about some basic fundamentals. You have to toss higher to give yourself more time to coordinate all of the complex movements underneath the ball in the early stages of the serve. So I recommend higher and farther away. Get that ball in front. We talked about power position. So there's lots of ways to bring the racket up. You got to get into a nice power position one way or the other. More or less an L, a capital L. And then what's related to that is the legs. And what's interesting is when the racket comes up and gets into the L, the legs go down. So there's this sort of opposites that I like to coach players to do. As the ball's going up, your racket's coming up and you're squatting down, more or less getting into it's not an exact squat, but it's like a squat. There's a little bit of a different hip action here, but essentially you're trying to load the back leg. You're loading both legs, but you're trying to load the back leg. So like if I was learning the serve or focusing on improving my serve, I would like dial right into these key points. You have the high toss far into the court. You have to bring the racket up and you get into a nice power position, L shape. And then when you're in that L shape, the interesting thing is the racket is up, your legs are loaded down. So it looks kind of like this. The ball goes up and you go down. Ball goes up, racket comes up, but when the racket's up, you go down. Many people have lots of issues here. For example, many people put the racket down and bring their legs down together. So the racket will come around and down together. That's a big power leak, big power killer. So make sure as the ball's going up and your racket's coming up, you go down and you sink down into a nice loaded position with more loading on your back leg than front. So there's lots of details and complexities in the serve, but these are sort of the big ticket items for you guys. Big ticket items that I would like focus in on and prioritize. We got the toss high and inside the court. You got the racket has to get into a nice power position, L shape, and you got to load your legs, particularly your back leg, before you accelerate and explode up into the ball. So we're talking about you get into priorities. We got to have a leg drive. A lot of people don't jump on the serve. I recommend jumping. Jump on your serve, and one of the first goals is when you jump on the serve, try to get over the white line. Try to get over the baseline. So one of the most simple drills you can do is just serve and jump over the white line. So you do your high toss, L shape. When the racket's up, the legs are down, and then you accelerate and jump over the white line and land on the left leg. This is another thing. It seems like maybe not the most important thing for some people, but I find it's low-hanging fruit. You should go after it and fix your landing while you're working on your jump. I know that some people disagree with that, but for me, it gives you like this immediate success. You can work on your loading, your jumping, and then work on your landing here on one leg. You post on one leg, and you hip extend. You extend your hip back, and you work on your posture here. There's a slight forward lean, but essentially you work on landing on one leg and look inside the court over the white line. Your entire foot should get over the baseline. A lot of people, many students of mine, they jump, or some of them don't jump. I encourage everyone to really work on your jump. Actually, try to jump. Even beginners, if you're a beginner, try to jump. Get the legs involved and try to get up over the baseline. Don't land here. A lot of people land here. I have a lot of students, when they jump, they kick their hip forward. They flex their hip. It's actually hip flexion. A lot of people serve like this. Or a lot of people serve and they land like this. You really want to get a big, hip extension back. Sometimes I call this donkey kick. I call it scorpion's tail. I call it arabesque. There's a lot of different names for that. But basically, you want to use your legs to go up into the ball and then land with a nice kickback, and preferably over the line. So try not to land on the line. And then another one of my favorite exercises is to try to hold. So you try to hold on the landing. You go up and in, and as you jump, you try to hold 1, 2, 3. Really great strengthening and balance drill. I recommend you try that, and you can do it with or without the ball. See if I can get 1, 2, 3. If you want to take a few extra hops, you can. So it's okay to take those little hop steps too. It's just a wonderful exercise and really good for working on that balance and strength. Another quick tip that I think is essential that sort of fits into the whole package here is keeping the tossing arm up. So a lot of people will toss and they'll drop their arm right away, or their arm won't get fully extended. So one of the things that I like to work on is another simple drill is you toss and point. So you toss up and keep this up, and then you can also work on your loading and your L shape. So you work on those. You can work on those 3 variables together. They work really good as kind of a package deal here, like a Happy Meal. You got the left arm. The job of the left arm is to toss it up high and inside the court. We talked about that. The job of the right arm is to bring the racket. There's many different ways to bring the racket up, but you come into that L shape. And the job of the legs is to load well, to prepare the kinetic chain from the ground up. But I would definitely work on practicing tossing high and then point. Look at I'm feeling the stretch through my armpit, through my lats, my latissimus dorsi, and I'm stretching my arm up to the ball. A very important part of the serve that a lot of people neglect. They toss, and a lot of times that left arm will collapse. And that left arm being up, the stretch all through the obliques here and through this side of the body is going to actually help to get the shoulder over shoulder rotation that comes later. So this left arm getting stretched, this whole, and these abdominals getting stretched sets up the contraction of the obliques later that helps to accelerate the shoulder over shoulder. So really important, just simple tip that has a lot of biomechanical ramifications later is to get this tossing arm stretched up high. And you can imagine pointing up to the ball. So guys, thanks for getting out in the red clay with me here on this beautiful fall day in Manchester, Vermont. I hope you enjoyed some of these basic postural adjustments and keys. You have the power position, the L shape, you have the tossing arm up, you have the loading in the legs, especially the back leg loading. You have the toss tip, get that toss high and in front. I recommend the high toss, even though a lot of coaches will tell you toss low. From my personal opinion, high toss is the way to go because it gives you a lot of time to coordinate all these other important aspects, particularly the loading in the kinetic chain. So you have all these, and don't forget, low-hanging fruit, the landing and the kickback. Jump over the line, use the baseline as a guideline, jump over the line and get that nice kickback. All right, I hope those quick tips help you. These are the things that I work on all the time with people coming to work on their serve with me. And I love building a world-class serve. These are the key priorities. I hope they help you. Guys, thank you so much for dropping in and learning some good tips for the serve. Come and train with me. I'm here in Manchester, Vermont. I train players from around the world who come visit me here in the mountains. I can also train with you virtually if you prefer to train online. So guys, I'll see you on the next program. Please subscribe, please leave a comment, and please share the video with your friends if you thought it had value. Thank you.